Good.
Hi, I'm Debra Loder. I am the dietary manager and registered dietitian nutritionist here at Wickenburg Community Hospital. And thanks for joining me for today's video. We're going to talk about salads, and so this is how to build a better salad. So when we think about salads, I got curious actually this morning and thought maybe I should say a little bit about the history of salads. And so I looked it up, I Googled it, and found out that the first salads apparently were in the Roman Empire times. And it was simply greens, salad greens, and drenched in olive oil and salt. And I found out that the word salad actually comes from the word salt. And so that was kind of interesting. But we talk about salads, and what is a salad anyway? We see all kinds of salads. We see carrot salad, we see something like Cobb salad, or then we see Waldorf salad. So salads can be any number of ingredients, from pasta, when we use that in pasta salads, to mayonnaise-based salads like chicken salad. So it's just a word that we use for all these things that are kind of a mixture of different ingredients, usually fresh and cold, not always, but usually cold. So as I think back through my childhood, I can remember carrot and raisin salad, and nowadays people say yuck to that. I can remember coleslaw. For a while there, we were on this kick of a pea salad. It was fresh garden peas or frozen peas that we added cheese and bacon and mayonnaise to, but it was salad. That's what we called it. We also have salads that are called composed salads. A composed salad is usually a bed of greens, of some kind of greens, and then they'll put rows of ingredients on the top, or make things in a decorative pattern, and then when you start to eat it is when you kind of toss it all together and dress it and have it for dinner or lunch. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the salad ingredients and what is a better salad and how do we obtain that. So we've talked before about phytonutrients. So if you remember that from previous discussions, we talked about phytonutrients being in the dark colored fruits and vegetables. So when we think about that, I have beets here, and they are really rich in phytonutrients. So the beets would be a great addition to a salad. When we think about the lettuce, a lot of times I use romaine lettuce, but to bump it up a notch, you use spinach or a spring mix. And we're so lucky these days to have these nice bags of already washed lettuce blends and spinach and things like that. So that's nice because all we have to do is open the bag and it's ready to go. When we're talking about greens, it's really important to talk about getting them clean, because remember, all of your greens grow on the ground, and so when they're harvested, little particles of sand can be in there. So you want to be sure that you wash those greens, unless they're already pre-washed like these. You want to wash those greens gently in water. And I really recommend having a salad spinner. If you don't have a salad spinner, you might want to invest in one. They're not very expensive, and you don't have to have a fancy one or a big one. So what you do is you rinse your greens off, and then you put them in this basket. The basket goes in here, and then put the top on, and you spin it, except I don't have the top fully on. Well, anyway, you spin it like this, and what that does is it splashes off the water from the greens, and you'll notice that there's a lot of water in here. You dump that water out, and your greens are really nice and dry. So why does that matter? Well, your greens will keep better if they're drier, because moisture is what breaks them down and lets them get that sliminess. And so you want to make sure that they're dry for that reason. The other reason is if they're dry, then the dressing will cling to them easier instead of just running off and being a puddle on your plate. So those are the two reasons. The other thing that you can do if you don't have a salad spinner is you can just wrap them in a towel. I just use a clean kitchen towel. Just wrap the greens in that and then just kind of press lightly. You don't want to push on them because you don't want to damage them. But just press them lightly and then unfold them, and to keep them in the refrigerator for a while, wrap them in some paper towel and put them in a bag, and that will help retain the moisture without having too much moisture. So that's one of the things that you can do for your greens. I use a lot of romaine lettuce. Romaine lettuce is not the best. It does have some dark green on it, and you want to get the one that has more dark green rather than less. I like it because it's sturdy and because it's really crunchy. The other lettuce that we often see in salads is iceberg lettuce, and people like it for that same reason. It's sturdy and it's really crunchy. But the other lettuces, remember, will have more phytonutrients in them, which is really good for our immune system and for disease fighting, for all sorts of different reasons. So when it comes to making a salad, there are a lot of ways that you can make a salad. You can just start with a plate and add your ingredients, or I'm going to show you a technique that I like to use. First of all, when you get home from the grocery store, I recommend that you take all of your salad ingredients and clean them. So for the lettuce, I would wash it, wrap it in paper towel, like I said, put it in a baggie, and put it in the refrigerator. If I was going to buy some radishes, I would take the ends off of them, wash those, and put them in a container. But the other thing that you can do is go ahead and prepare those, like I have them here, and put them in an airproof container like this one, and put them in your refrigerator. Then when it's time for you to make your salad, you've got all of your ingredients all ready, and you can just choose from the ingredients and build your salad from there. I like to do this. This is kind of my go-to. At home on Sunday, I do my meal prep, and so that I have basic dinners through the week. I don't do everything, but I do some of the basics like cooking the meat, cooking anything that takes a long time to cook, as well as getting my salads ready. So I use good old mason jars. I always start with the ingredients in the bottom that are the sturdiest. So I might start with cucumber. I love cucumbers in salads. I would just drop in, this is for 2 people, by the way. I would just drop in some cucumbers. And then the radishes are pretty sturdy too, so I might put those in next. Now, I don't do this. Some people like to put their dressing in the bottom of the jar. I don't, because I might change my mind and want a different dressing on the day that I'm going to eat it, but you could put the dressing in the bottom if you wanted to. Now, tomatoes are tricky. Tomatoes are sturdy if they are the little cherry tomatoes or grape tomatoes, but if you are cutting your tomatoes up, I recommend that you put those on the top, because they will get mushy if they're under very much stuff. So I like to use just a lot of different ingredients. I might use the bell peppers. I don't have any of those chopped up, but I love to put in some corn. Corn adds some sweetness, and this is just frozen corn that I've thawed out. You could use canned corn, but it's got that little brightness and that sweetness and that little crunch. So I love that in my salad. I like onion, so you can have onion or not. I like to use green onion for my salads because it's a little bit milder, and it's got that bright green color too, so has those phytonutrients in there. So maybe just a few of those. And I also like to add some protein. So the protein part of the salad can be a number of things. Today I have chickpeas or garbanzo beans, and I get them in the can, and I just rinse them off, drain them really well, and I'll put a few of those in my salad for just that little touch of flavor and protein. I love the earthiness, so I add that. The other thing that you could use would be like kidney beans, black beans, whatever beans, if you like. You could also put a grain in here. I have a tabbouleh salad that I'll talk about in a minute over on the corner, and it's made with quinoa. Quinoa would also be a great addition, or some barley. So you can think about putting a grain into your salad as well. I think I'll slice up a couple of beets. I have to give a shout out to my two employees that helped prep for today, Sabrina and Vi. They are busy now. Vi's back in the hospital kitchen serving lunch to the patients, and Sabrina's in our little kitchen up here in the front of the hospital, and she is serving lunch to our employees. So thank you two girls for helping me get this ready for today. Made my life a lot easier. So I just put in a couple of little beets. Now once again, I just use canned beets. It's okay. I get the low sodium brand type, and then that way they don't have as much sodium in them. And you could, if you wanted to, roast them. Roasting vegetables brings out a lot of their flavor, and so that's a good thing that you could do, is roast your beets and then peel them, and then just put them in a container and have them ready for when you want to build your salad. So there I've got a pretty good basis for my salad. I think I'll go ahead and put in those garbanzo beans or chickpeas. These are a powerhouse of nutrition. If you haven't tried them, I recommend that you try them. If you're familiar with hummus, that's usually what hummus is made out of, and they're just very, very healthy for you. So there's quite a salad. Let's see, the last thing then, don't want to put anything else. I think I'll end it there. Oh wait, maybe we'll put a few of the black olives. That would add some saltiness to my salad. Reminding you that this is for 2 people. So there's a few of my black olives. You could use green olives if you like that. And then finally on the top I put my lettuce. Why do I put my lettuce on the top? Because it is more fragile and tends to get kind of smashed if you put it down in the bottom. So especially if you're using a leaf lettuce like this spring mix, you would want to make sure that you put that on top as well. So I put this all together, and on Sunday I make 4 of these for my husband and me to have during the week. And they're all lined up in the refrigerator, and I put the lid on, and this will keep in the refrigerator for up to a week. The reason is, remember, all of my ingredients were dry, and my lettuce was dry, and I'm tightening this real tight so the air doesn't get in it. A glass jar will really help keep the air out, and your food will stay fresher for longer. So there's my salad. What I would do when I'm ready to eat that is I dump it into a salad bowl and toss it around, and then I usually add something else to it. Now you're going to say, why did you add something else? Well, cheese is a great addition to a salad, either cubed up like this, or shredded cheese. But if you put it in here, it's going to get really soggy. So I recommend adding that and adding the meats at the end. So if you wanted to make a meal out of this, if you wanted to make a nice chicken salad or a tuna salad, you could pour it into your bowl, mix it up, put it on your plates, and then top it with cheese, with tuna, with chicken, with a hard-boiled egg that you slice up, any number of things that you could add to it, and it would be a complete meal. And that really helps you get all of your fruits and vegetables into your diet as well. The other method that I like to do is have all of my ingredients in a little container that's airproof. You could even use baggies, that would be fine. And then at dinner time, you can pull everything out and assemble the salad that you want for that night. This works well because sometimes you don't want the lettuce, you just want the other things. Or sometimes you might just want to add some of these vegetables to a bowl or a little Tupperware and take it with you to work and use it to dip, you know, into your ranch dressing, which is always a highlight. So I might build a salad right on my plate, and same way, just whatever I want in that salad. I might want to skip one of these things. Or the other thing is, maybe the other person in your house doesn't want onions, so this is a good way to do this. It's to have all the ingredients set aside, and then you just make it at the last minute. So I think I'm pretty good there. So you can do that, and then you have a salad all ready to go in little to no time. So the other thing I like to do when I think about my salads is, I just talked about ranch dressing. Well, ranch dressing, it has a lot of calories, a lot of salt, some things that we don't really need in our diets. Not that we shouldn't have it, everything in moderation, remember that. But I talk about that because I like to make a homemade dressing, just because I can control the ingredients that are in it. And the easiest dressing of all to make is a vinaigrette. A vinaigrette dressing is just 1 part of an acid to 2 parts of an oil. So when you choose your acid, you can choose vinegar. I have a rice vinegar here, which I like a lot because it has a sweetness to it. So if you like that, a rice vinegar is really good to get. Another thing would be a champagne vinegar or a white or red wine vinegar. Those are really good and mild. What you want to avoid though is like the white distilled vinegar. That would be too harsh. Apple cider vinegar is good. So choose your vinegar and then choose your oil. Classic vinaigrette has olive oil, but there are also some great olive or oils on the market. This is avocado oil and this is walnut oil. They have their own distinct flavor, and so experiment and see what you like as far as the oils are concerned. I just like the olive oil, and get a good one. It's better to splurge on things like that and get something that you really like. Stick with the heart healthy fats, of course. So it's 1 part of the acid. You could also use lemon juice, lime juice, orange juice. That would be a good acid to use. So I'm going to use a quarter, about 1/8 of a cup. A little bit more. It's about 1/8 of a cup of vinegar, and then put some oil in there. You can just eyeball it. All of the chefs eyeball it, but I'm not so good at that. So put your oil and your vinegar in your little jar. You could also use a bowl and a whisk. You don't have to shake it. I just like to shake it because it's easier and I can just keep the leftover in the little jar. So when you put oil and vinegar together, look what happens. We know that the oil stays on the top and the vinegar goes on the bottom, and that's because it's not emulsified. Oil and vinegar don't mix. And so what I do is add a little touch of Dijon mustard, and that will help it emulsify. Mayonnaise is an emulsification. So when you make mayonnaise, you use eggs and oil and lemon juice, and you want them to all get together. Well, those compounds will emulsify together and stay stable because of the method that is used to make that mayonnaise. So what we're going to do here is make a dressing that will stay stable and stay emulsified and not separate. I just like to put a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper, and then I like shallot. So shallot is in the onion family, and it is, it looks like this. It comes in a bowl, and this is a half of a shallot. It's a little bit garlicky and a little bit of very mild onion flavor. So I might put in a couple of teaspoons of that. And then to emulsify it, I will just shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it. You want to shake it really well. Now, if you're doing this with a whisk in a bowl, the way I like to do it is put the lemon juice or the acid, whatever you're using, in the bottom of a little bowl. Put the Dijon mustard in and get it all mixed in, and then drizzle in your oil just a little bit at a time, and makes it easier. You could also use a blender if you wanted to do that. But there we've got a nice little vinaigrette, really fast, really quick. If you want to add some other things to it, some of the things that you can add is a little bit of garlic. You could add some Italian seasoning, some red pepper flakes. If it's a little too tart for you, which sometimes if you use lemon juice, it can be a little tart, just a pinch of sugar or a pinch of honey will brighten that up. So this is a great technique to use. You can make that on Sunday when you're making your salads. Go ahead and make up a pint jar of dressing, and then you've got that for the whole week. We talked a little bit earlier about grains and other things that can go into salads. Vi made this really yummy tabbouleh salad. Now, tabbouleh salad is traditionally made with bulgur or sometimes with barley, but we use quinoa. Quinoa is that great grain that's really high in protein. It's got a really nutty kind of flavor and a kind of a crisp, chewy texture. It's just really yummy. So it has, in this it has a dressing made out of mint and parsley and then lemon juice and olive oil. And added to that is onion and tomato and cucumber. So it's a traditional salad just as it is, but you could spice it up a little bit with some garbanzo beans, once again, to just up that, that protein. The black olives, once again, make a really good salty addition. And then feta cheese is another one of those things that you can add to complement those flavors. So that would be a nice dinner salad. You could also do something like this and use pasta. If you used a whole grain pasta, that would give you a lot of your whole grains for the day. You could use, like I said, barley. You could use quinoa, farro. That's another one of the ancient grains that are on the market now. But I recommend this kind of salad because it is really high in fiber and a lot of protein, and then those wonderful phytonutrients again. I love avocado on a salad, but it would be added on the day that I'm going to eat the salad. So if I wanted to put avocado, I would put it on top of the salad after I made this, poured it into my bowl. Let's see, I think I've talked about nearly everything. Once again, cheese, all good toppings for salads. Let me just look at my notes for just a second. I think I've done all of those. Now, on the website, on the hospital website, you will find some handouts that from today. They're really got a lot of good information, And one of them that I particularly love is how to create a super salad. And this has a lot of salad suggestions on it. So it's the one that looks like this. And on there, the first thing on the list is fruit. And I haven't talked about fruit very much today, but fruit is a great thing to add to a salad. Once again, those berries are high in phytonutrients. So a classic salad is spinach with strawberries, feta cheese, and a poppy seed kind of dressing. So you'd want a little sweetness in that dressing. You could use Waldorf salad. That's another one of those really classic ones, which is apples and walnuts, and it has a mayonnaise type dressing. Nowadays we make an apple salad here at the hospital that we put a yogurt flavored with lemon dressing on it, and it's just apples and cranberries, and people love it. So it's sweet and it's crunchy. It's very refreshing. The other type salads that have fruit in them, one of the classic combinations is beets and citrus, so beets and either tangerine or orange. That's a really classic flavor that goes well together, as does, let's see, orange and cucumber, orange and avocado, another really classic way to combine fruits with your vegetables. So this, once again, this is really good because it talks about the fruits, the vegetables, the grains, protein choices, dairy, and healthy fats. So this kind of gives you a chart to go to say, oh, I could combine these two things. Once again, I think there's 5. Some of them have some little recipes. The other thing that I encourage you to do is just Google. Just go and look at recipes on the internet. Now with us being in this pandemic and we're spending more time in front of our computers, it's a good time to kind of experiment and look for some recipes that you can make good salads out of. Right now it's easier to get the produce. For a while there in the beginning it was a little bit difficult, but I've noticed that the counters are full at the grocery store when I go to pick out my vegetables. They remember to take care of them so that you don't waste them, and then just have a ball creating salads. We'll be back again next week talking about portion sizes, so be sure to watch for our advertisements about that, and I hope to see you then. Thanks.